everybody. Thank you for listening to the Collective Podcast. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that download button on wherever you're listening to on the stream. Leave us a review. Do all that wonderful stuff. Today we have a range of topics we're going to talk about. We're going to have a big E3 recap with a special guest. And as always, remember, Gerry?
Get that leg! Welcome to Collective Podcast, Episode 7 right here. Gerard Uselli speaking, Christian just nodding to the side and not acknowledging me for anything. But Christian, how are you today?
I'm good. Let's hope that Pro Tools doesn't crap out on me like last week, or like the last episode.
I got my fingers crossed that it will.
Oh, God. So recap of last episode. Had a great feedback. This week we have our friend John Gregorio on. He's not here yet, but we're going to have a big recap of E3 that dropped. And Gerry is just nodding at me, saying like, okay, even though he doesn't know what E3 is.
Yes.
E3 is the big video game convention that happened this week.
Thank God someone else is coming on to talk about it.
Jerry's going to be with me on this as a backup. He's going to ask questions where it applies. He's going to sprinkle it with some of that Gerry dust.
Yes.
Of his really dry humor. And but before John comes in, we're hoping that Pro Tools doesn't crap out. We're going to do a few topics just to make sure everything pans out with my equipment. And then when John comes, we're going to hop right into it. So, Gerry, Halloween trailer dropped.
I saw the trailer, actually, and for once I kept up with the episode and pop culture. What a way to multitask. And I have to say, it was a pretty impressive trailer, in my honest opinion.
Are we ever going to get past the podcast without me mentioning Halloween?
Never.
But yeah, I saw the trailer, and it hit me.
Made you cry?
Right in the feels? No, because it's a Halloween movie that takes place in the original timeline. It's ignoring everything that came before it, except for the first movie. They do that little cheeky moment where it's like, hey, wasn't it his brother that killed all those people? They're like, no, it's a myth that just people made up, which I thought was funny. Our good friend Chris Marcianti did not take kindly to that joke.
Ooh.
I had a yard sale last week, and he called me, and he goes, I don't understand why they're ignoring everything. I would have taken the Resurrection sequel. Why are you ignoring it? And I'm like, Chris, the storyline got really convoluted. He's like, well, they committed to it. Just keep it on. I'm like, I guess. But Jamie Lee Curtis is back. It looks really good. The mask looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, the mask is definitely one of the best ones I've seen. For sure.
It's supposed to be the first mask from the first movie, weathered 40 years.
Right.
And it just looks freaking amazing. And I don't know if I'm going to have a breakdown of the trailer. Maybe I'll do one. But we are going to have Chris Marcianti on in a couple of months as it gets closer to the movie release. He's busy.
By Halloween.
Yeah, he's busy writing my script for the movie. It's an inside joke. But so I can't wait for that. That comes out in October. I don't know if I'm going to see it opening night or not. But we're definitely going to have a big event going.
I feel like we should go trick-or-treating in the movie theater.
Yeah. So,
just to throw it out there, maybe we can incorporate Joe Valenti on that episode of the podcast.
Hey, Joe Valenti. So the other thing I want to talk about briefly was Anthony Bourdain.
What a travesty.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his, especially all of his travel shows and stuff. He really changed the way you eat food or how you view food.
He changed the way I microwave my macaroni and cheese.
Well, yeah, he tells you not to. But his book, Kitchen Confidential, was a very big hit back in the 90s. It just told you exactly line cooks and behind the scenes of cooking, being a sous chef, being a line chef, everything.
The guy's experience is something else.
His show, No Reservations. When I started watching it, I wasn't a fan of it. I was more of a fan of Andrew Zimmerman. who did Bizarre Foods, because it's like, who would you much rather watch? A guy eating worms or a guy eating food? I'm sticking with the worms.
Yeah.
But I started to like Anthony Bourdain more as I got older for his dry humor and his just hatred for the Food Network. He goes, they're not real chefs. I have to agree. Some of them aren't. Some
I think one of his shows had like over 35 episodes or something.
Oh yeah, he did a cook's tour on the Food Network, and then he got canceled. This was like when I was a kid. I don't remember it, but it's a tragedy for him that he died. He was only 61. He was 61 years old, and yeah, and it hit me because I was really shocked. I was at work when it happened, and I remember I went home and I watched Parts Unknown. I watched the Vietnam episode because he was a very big fan of Vietnam, and it was a place that he wanted to move. He did like 3 episodes on it, spanning across like his 3 series and stuff. Especially my dad. My dad's a Vietnam vet, so I was watching that as like a cultural / I wanted to see.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm gonna miss him for his humor, his dry humor.
He definitely had that dry humor.
He definitely had like that punk rock type vibe to him. He loved the Ramones. And he loved the New York Dolls, and I still laugh at when he did his New York episode and he came to Staten Island. Of all the places, all the places Dave Johansen took him to, he took him to Jade Island.
Jade Island. How long ago was this? Like 4 or 5 years
this
ago?
had to have been maybe 9 years ago. 8 years ago.
So wait a minute. Jade has been around for more than that.
Yeah, Jade's been around since my mom was a kid.
Oh my god.
Since my mom was like young.
Let's go there now.
Yeah, let's go after the podcast. But he was just in awe of Dave Johansen, and my mom's telling me, she knows Dave Johansen and stuff. Those of you that don't know Dave Johansen, you might know him as his alter ego, Buster Poindexter, who did Hot, Hot, Hot.
Hot, hot, hot.
Yeah, what else do we want to talk about for John Combs? Oh, the Happytime murders, being sued by Sesame Street.
Ooh.
This ain't Sesame, this ain't no street. Or no, this ain't Sesame, but it's all street. They got sued. They won the lawsuit because, it's not directly making fun of Sesame Street, but it's a hilarious trailer. It's like, it's something like, I don't like Melissa McCarthy. I don't think she's funny.
She's good in like spurts.
Especially after the whole Ghostbusters thing where she was making fun of like hardcore fans that actually wanted to see the original cast.
Right.
She's like, people live in the basement of their parents who sit behind a computer and complain. No, we're just people that want to see the original cast. Yes, that is a lawnmower going in the background. Original cast come back and do one more movie, even though it would have been just two out of the 4.
I feel like the lawnmower is symbolic for the fact that we're in the basement right now.
Yes,
and we need to really reprioritize what we do in our lives.
We're in the basement complaining about a movie, so Melissa McCarthy might be right. But I don't find her funny. But this movie does look funny because it takes a kiddie concept of Muppets. And, like, come on, the trailer ends with 2 Muppets.
Well, those are always the funniest things, like when you just reimagine something, especially when you think it's so, like, childlike and innocent, and just take it to a whole nother extremity.
I mean, Gerry, it's 2 Muppets at the end of the trailer having sex, and then him... it's a PG show. But he was finishing up, if you catch my drift. And it was just funny. But, So, we're gonna cut here. We're gonna wait for John Gregorio to come in. He's not late. He said 1 o'clock. It's like 12:40. But just wanted to see if the equipment works. It's working so far.
There you go.
And we'll be back with our big E3 coverage recap. John's gonna nerd out. I'm gonna nerd out. Gerry's gonna sit in the corner and laugh.
And just stare at you.
Jerry's gonna sit
with
in the corner.
my face for radio.
Jerry's gonna sit in the corner and sleep. One of the things I am gonna talk to John about real quick is we had this conversation a year ago about the Wii U. About how it was a marketing failure, and since him and me both work in marketing,
I was there for that conversation.
Yeah,
I did the exact same thing as you were just saying
just
before.
Fell asleep. Yeah, but I definitely want to start out with that, and then we're going to gradually work up to all the stuff that they announced that they're going to release this year, as well as how we started out liking video games. What was our first console and our first video games?
Oh, I could actually kind of attribute myself to the conversation.
But first, before we go, I want to give a big
Call
shout
my
out.
cell phone.
I want to give a big shout out. Those of you that listened to the last podcast, I mentioned James Faluca, who we have as a co-host of Collective Gaming, with the show's been put on hold for a little bit. He just delivered his kid, or he didn't deliver. His wife delivered last week.
Yeah.
Last week. So I want to give a big 10-pound baby. Oh my God. God bless him.
Big babies.
I haven't met him yet, but I gave him a whole bunch of gifts, and hopefully by the time this podcast drops,
We'll take the last outlaw picture.
we'll take the last outlaw picture. But yes, congratulations to them. Many blessings. And we're definitely going to have James Faluca on the podcast. I don't know about what. Logic dictates it'll be about wrestling, but maybe he doesn't want to talk about wrestling. But yeah, we're going to see him soon. And we're going to try dropping a collective podcast. A collective gaming episode. I might just do one solo, just to start out. And then we'll gradually bring Jimmy back on. So we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Episode of Collective Podcasting is sponsored by Da Piera. They're on 1970 Victory Boulevard. You like Italian cooking?
Absolutely.
Well, this is authentic Southern Italian cooking. They have a chef directly from Italy, which is in the city. Great Italian food. They have pizza. They have sandwiches. Real authentic Italian food. Ate there last week. Really great. I suggest everybody go and tell them the Caputo Collective sent you.
And we're back.
Hey! We're here with John Gregorio.
Hello.
Who's Nintendo extraordinaire, does marketing.
Yeah,
Jerry.
I don't get paid for it, though. unfortunately.
Jerry, you want to talk
I've
about
paid him
his...
to be my friend for the past 10 years, and it couldn't be more of an honor and a privilege to pay him even more this year.
Can you list his non-credentials that you were going to list before?
So Nintendo, if you're listening, if you're hiring, hey.
Yay. So we got our big E3, which was this past week. But before we jump into that, I want to ask you, what was the first console that you got into?
So very first console, Christmas of '96. I was first grade, 6 years old. Got my first Nintendo 64 system with just one game with it, Super Mario 64. Has always been my favorite game until a little game called Mario Odyssey came out.
Oh.
But since then, I just fell in love with the company, their franchises, their characters, their games.
Mine was the Genesis.
Ah,
And I got
Sega.
to say, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I betrayed everybody.
There you go.
Although it might have been the Game Boy, the big brick.
Well, the first home console, I guess you could say, Sega, yeah.
Because
Well,
I had the big ass brick. That
yeah,
was the
well,
Game Boy.
if this was the '90s, we'd be outside fighting right now. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah, we-
Nintendo and Sega, they're like two little
And now it's
little best
gentrified.
friends.
Yeah, we'd be like, no Sonic, no Mario,
Yeah,
no,
right.
no. Well, what was yours, Jerry?
Mine was the Pac-Man on Nintendo 64. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wow, I know
It
that
was like
there was
2000, 2001.
Yeah, I know for the
It was Miss
GameCube.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, I know for the GameCube, they Nintendo partnered up with Namco for a Pac-Man versus game that wasn't received too well, but it was their big
But look who
Pac-Man.
you're
But
talking
N64, I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
I
would like
had,
to play that.
I had for the Genesis was called Pac-Man 2, The Adventure Continues.
The only Pac-Man game I ever owned was one for the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, mine, I had the
and it was
regular-
it was the original Pac-Man just ported over.
Mine was Miss Pac-Man that I
Yeah.
had.
So what? I only played Miss Pac-Man one time in that ice cream shop. On Amboy.
You're talking
Sedutos?
about Ralph's?
Not Ralph's. It was an ice cream
Because
shop.
they still have that setup, by the way.
Yeah.
Sedutos?
No, oh man, it's on. It was on Amboy in Tottenville. If anybody who's listening in Staten Island right now, they probably are screaming the name, but
God damn it!
So, Lanty, if you answer
Yeah.
this question, you will be
But,
our new guest on the podcast.
yeah, but they had a Miss Pac-Man setup, the tabletop setup, and that was the only time I remember playing it. And I was really young, but I don't even remember the differences of Miss Pac-Man versus regular Pac-Man.
But people say it's the superior one.
Yeah,
Miss
no, I know
Pac-Man
that.
for
So I
some
guess
reason.
I'm a terrible gamer for
Yeah.
not knowing. But hey,
So moving, time traveling 10, 15 years ahead, we had the Wii,
Yep.
And that was a revolutionary console.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then its bastard child, the Wii U.
You know what? Like the Wii, like coming from the GameCube, because like GameCube was a great system, but it wasn't. There was during a time when like Nintendo was having a hard time appealing to like like the Call of Duty players. Like Xbox had just come out, and that was like the big man's console, and like everybody was like trying to play to like be cool and all that. And like, don't get me wrong, like Xbox was a great system, had like Halo, all of that. But Nintendo had they had Smash Brothers Melee, which people play competitively to this day. But besides that, they always had more colorful characters and everything like that. So back then, it was more received as like a kids console, so it wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
And they trailed in sales basically. They were third out of the big three. So coming off of that, Nintendo being the badass company that I believe that they are, because they just like to look at the industry, look at all the norms, and be like, okay, screw all of that. We're gonna be doing our own thing. They said, okay, instead of beefing up like our processors and graphics and making everything looking as crazy as possible, we're just gonna change the way we play games. We're gonna make a controller that's like one-handed. It looks like a TV remote, but you can like there's motion controls in it, so you can use it like tennis racket, baseball bat, steering wheel, play it sideways like an NES controller, all that stuff, which I thought was kind of genius, and it paid off. I mean, like it ended up being a revolution for the gaming industry. I think a lot of non-gaming companies like Apple can honestly thank Nintendo for bringing casual players and people who never really played games like into that market.
Makes me want to play again.
Yeah, and you know what? To this day, people like even in like I think like retirement homes, like they bought Wii's to like let like older people play like bowling and all that stuff, and they would have like tournaments and things like that. So like it definitely changed the dynamic of like where gaming was supposed to be aimed to, rather from going from like a niche audience to a whole everybody.
Wii Sports, man. Wii Sports.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, like to a lot of gamers that like to scoff at the Wii for being like a very casual experience. Don't tell me that like the first time you ever swung the Wii remote and like you see like the tennis racket swing on screen, that wasn't a really cool experience.
Oh no, it was. Like the thing for me that I really liked about it was when I first found out like a long time ago, they said like, oh, you could play any game on it. I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh, the virtual console?
Yeah, like they didn't describe it right. They're like, hey, you could play your Super Nintendo games. I'm like,
so to this day, I think like the Wii has been the like most hyped up, like, and for the longest time until its release, like hyped up system in like gaming history. Because like I think it came out 2006. And then in 2004 at E3, that's when they first like unveiled like the design and like the code word was revolution. It wasn't the Wii yet.
Yeah,
and
that's what they called it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, it sounded really cool. Like and they never announced the controller concept outright that year. They waited like maybe until 2005 to like say what it was. But the big thing when they first announced it was the virtual console, saying like, oh, you can download every old game that we've had like on the NES, SNES, N64, and like if you watch that the applause that came afterwards was insane.
Oh, that was big.
Yeah, so like but then they waited until like another gaming convention. I think like it was like the Tokyo Game Show of like 2005, where they the president of Nintendo, Iwata, rest in peace. He he unveiled the Wii remote for the first time, and screw Kim Kardashian, like that broke the internet. Like, nobody knew like what to expect from the Wii, like what power it would have, like what kind of games it would run. Like everybody was like saying like the rumors like about what the controller might be like. People were spreading like speculation, false rumors and artwork and what could it look like? Yeah. And and then like I said, they come out with this little tiny remote that's one-handed. It looks like a TV remote. Like what the hell does it do? You can plug additional like like the nunchuck controller. You can like plug things into it. Like, and people were just like, how are they gonna do like like
the one thing I remembered was reading in the newspaper about how like people were breaking their TVs because they wouldn't put the harness on their hands, so when they would swing the nunchuck, it would fall out of their hands.
I mean, those people, even if you didn't wear the strap, like if you're swinging that hard to like let go of the you're trying too hard in my opinion. But, that was like a funny little like if you want to call it like a broken TV gate situation. That lasted like maybe 6 months, but Nintendo they took care of that. They came out with like the jacket. So like, yeah.
But moving a little bit forward, they had the Wii U, which was the bastard child of the Wii.
Yeah, that was, you know what, it was like the failure that Nintendo needed to have, because
Yeah.
I feel like they got really big-headed after like the success of the Wii. They were
Yeah.
like, okay, anything that we touch with the Wii is gold. You know, like Wii Sports, you know, the Wii itself was like the best-selling system ever, and you know, Wii Fit was like a, you know, gaming fitness phenomenon. And you know, it's like Mario Kart, like all those games were like selling
I
like
still
crazy.
use that with my broken TV, by the way.
Oh yeah, hey, you know, gotta burn calories somehow, right? But I would use it too if I still had it working. But yeah, so like you know, there was, I mean, if we can talk about like all the things that went wrong with the Wii U, we'd probably have like a 2-hour-long podcast. But I mean, the main thing that was wrong with the Wii U was like you know, the initial unveiling of it, like in the marketing of it, like they
didn't really describe what it was because everybody thought it was just a controller.
Right, yeah. So like if you watch like the E3 presentation that they had that year that they unveiled it, they only used the word system, like home system, I think, like one time, and the entire like introductory video about what like the gamepad controller was, like showing all the concepts, they just kept saying like, do this with the new controller, do this with the new controller, and like, you know, it's white, it looks like Wii-ish, like, so a lot of people like came out of that thinking like, oh, is this, you know, well, people in E3 probably knew, like, you know,
Yeah, I got it. I understood it.
The people who pay attention to the industry knew, but like, you know, the casual players probably just thought it was another like Wii gimmick sort of thing. So like they never thought much of it. They didn't think it was like something to buy. You know, they had like family for kids that they want. You know, they didn't think much of it. So it actually sold well like the first month, and you know, because that was again like all the gamers that knew what it was, and then after that it just dropped off. Like they, you know, the sales just went downward like month by month, quarter by quarter, and they lost a lot of money off of it. And
the old jokes on the internet, we're fine.
Yeah, I mean they
fine.
had things to fall back on, like the 3DS, like even though like 3DS had a bad start too, but like it ended up being like a very successful system, so they had that to fall back on. They came out with like, you know, the amiibo figures that were popular, and you know, I never really bought any, but you know, that was just, you know, cash for them. And you know, I mean, to be honest though, like the failure of the Wii U, you know, I don't think we would have the Switch without the Wii U.
Yeah, because the Wii U probably would have been. It's probably, I don't know, they described it as a in-between generation console instead of like the next generation console.
Yeah, it's kind of, but not really. I mean, it came out like, so what, 2017 it came out, and like the Wii U came out 2012, so that's like a good 5-year gap. But yeah, it's, you know, it came out during, the Switch came out during the time that, you know, the PS4 and the Xbox One or Xbox One X or S or whatever the hell they have now.
Apparently, you know, they're making another one now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we can touch upon that later.
When we get to E3, yeah.
Yeah, so it came out during the time that they were still going strong. But yeah, like you know, they've been coming out with games on the Switch. I don't want to jump ahead to, you know, we're talking about the Wii U, but like, you know, they've been coming out with games that have been going head to head with, you know, like those systems like Doom and all of them. So. A lot of hope for that system, but yeah, like, you know, the Wii U, like I said, like it just, you know, the marketing was bad. Like, remember that commercial, like when it first came out, it was like people were in like all these like blocked rooms, and all the rooms like made the shape of a U, and like you're watching the commercial, and it's like, okay, like there's a Mario game that looks just like New Super Mario Brothers Wii on the Wii that came out like 5 years before that, and like, you know, people are playing with Wii remotes, but they're also playing with the gamepad. Like, what exactly is going on? Like, it wasn't, there was no like.
There was a funny golf one where you put the controller on the floor and then you had the Wii remote. Yeah. But then on the floor it had the golf ball.
Yeah, which,
that was
so
cool.
like, and I had that, like, but, and, you know, it wasn't, you know, that was Wii Sports Club, and I think the whole thing was you can download it for free, but you had to buy each game if you wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
I forget how it exactly worked, but it wasn't just like, okay, you bought it, now you have it. Like, you know, if you want to play golf, you have to pay this amount of money. If you want to, or you can subscribe to it. I could be wrong about that, but it was a weird thing. So like, just a lot of like weird, like games and concepts that came through the Wii U that just weren't, you know, like people didn't really want to buy into it. I even got out of it after a while. Like,
I could tell you my horror story about the Wii U was, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I went to GameStop to pick something up, and the guy's like, yeah, you know, if you sign up for this, like, you could get a Wii U, and I'm like,
no.
Okay.
They were just trying to get it off the shelf.
Yeah, no, and they didn't tell me it was like a credit card. So like, I signed up for it. They're like, yeah, it's a points card. So like, when I complained back to them, they're like,
yeah, so
but what happened with the Wii U was, you know how you were able to transfer your Wii games that you bought from Virtual Console.
I never even bothered doing that.
I did that, and then I returned the Wii U, and I was like pissed.
Because you couldn't put it back.
Yeah, because I couldn't bring it back.
Yeah, so everything on your Wii you lost.
Yeah, I was just so
Yeah,
angry.
that was another thing too. Like, they made it compatible with the Wii, but they made its own app. Like, if you wanted to do Wii games, like on the original Wii, if you want to play GameCube games on it, all you had to do was just pop in the GameCube disc, and boom, you're in. If you wanted to do like Wii stuff on the Wii U, the Wii U had its own Wii app. So like channel, whatever they called it. So like you had to go into that. It opened up like its own Wii menu, and then you had to play all your Wii games, and all your Virtual Console games that you'd gotten there through there.
And so you had to be within a certain, like, I guess, distance from the actual, like.
Oh, with the gamepad? Yeah.
So I always keep my distance away from games.
Yeah. I mean, if you had like your bathroom was like right around the corner from your room, you were cool. You were good with that. Cool, but you weren't walking around anywhere with this.
Unlike the Switch.
Yeah. And also too, like, it came out like the Wii came out during the time that was right before smartphones and tablets and everything. So like when it tried getting into the casual market, it was like prime time for that to happen. And then after that, around the time the Wii U came out, that was when tablets, iPad was just like really exploding in the market.
Yeah, that was
everybody
getting big.
was getting a tablet. The App Store was going really strong with a lot of games and a lot of applications like that. So people were like really shifting their electronic usage towards like phones and tablets. So Nintendo coming out with this system that they have like this gamepad that like it's kind of like an iPad but looks like Fisher Price made it, and you can't take it with you. You can only like keep it in your room. Like it's not.
It looked like one of those things that
portable.
Could it be sold at Toys R Us?
Yeah, so I was going to say it looks like one of those things that you go in the back of Toys R Us and they had like the kid leapfrog type pads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah.
And so like the whole thing with the system that it lacked a certain purpose. Like the original Wii was, you knew exactly what it was for, you knew exactly how to use it. The Wii U just tried to do like this whole mishmash of things at once, and you didn't know, like, it had the gamepad, it had the Wii remote, it had like an adapter if you wanted to use GameCube controllers for the Smash Bros. Game, you could use that. And besides the GameCube controller, they made their own like Pro controller, classic controller that you can use with it, which I wasn't a fan of either. But so it's just like a whole bunch of like ideas that were just like going every which way, and like the system, like, you didn't know what it was supposed to be for, and like the marketing that they had, the commercials behind it, like never really opened the ideas up either. Like, you watch it, it's like, okay, like that's like a Mario game or a Yoshi game, but how do you exactly play it? You can play it with the Wii remote, you can play it with like the screen control, the gamepad. The lowest point in my opinion, the game Star Fox Zero.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So I was like, I'm a huge Star Fox fan.
Am I.
Like Star Fox 64. My friend introduced me to that game like when I was 7 or 8, and it blew me away. Like, it was the first time I ever experienced a game like where characters like just talking to each other like during.
Samus are my two favorites on Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah. Samus. Oh, so we have a lot to talk about with Smash Bros. And Metroid later on, but So like Star Fox as a franchise was always like treated really weirdly by Nintendo. They had
same with Metroid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was like a third tier. It was like Mario, Zelda, and then like Metroid and Fox.
Star Fox after 64 didn't know, like, Nintendo just had a really weird way of going about like where to take the series.
Yeah, because they had that GameCube game that started out as something else, and then they just said, let's just make it a Star Fox game.
The company. I'm gonna say this wrong because it's like a tongue twister. Rare. Who did, as you know, did games like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie and Perfect Dark and all those great 90s games that wish we could get now, but they've been since bought by Microsoft.
Xbox Sports.
Right? Yeah. They made a Kinect game, I think.
Yeah.
But, right before they got bought by Microsoft, they were making one more game that was going to be on the GameCube called Dinosaur Planet. Yeah. And the creator of Mario himself, Shigeru Miyamoto, he looked at this, and it was a game that was like starring like an animal character. It was like a cat-like character or something, like a fox character, something like that. And he looked at the character and he said, "Oh, like, we can put in Star Fox characters in this, and we can make it a Star Fox game," which was a really weird thing to do. But I mean, there are people that like the game. It's very Zelda-like. It's like an adventure game. A lot of people just dislike it just because of how much of a departure it was like from 64. And there are people that introduced the character Crystal, who was like became the love interest of Fox.
Oh God!
Some people, you got, like the furry crowd that likes her, I guess, but like a lot of people.
Lord.
Yeah, no, you don't want to know.
Jerry's favorite crowd.
Yeah, Jerry's a furry. Yeah, he knows all that. He's Fozzie Bear. That's why he has
Shout
a
out
Fozzie Bear
Fozzie
costume. But yeah, no, so after that game, they had another GameCube game for Star Fox that was much better. And it wasn't quite at 64's level, but I thought it was very good. It was Star Fox Assault. It brought back like the flying segments and all that, but it also brought back, or rather made introduced ground segments where like you're walking on the ground shooting things that I wasn't a fan of either. Like it was just the controls were like really weird and clunky and all that. So it definitely wasn't at 64's level. So people have always been pining for that revival, that bring it back to its roots. Give us another 64-like game.
And then they came out with Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, and at the time, they really, they teased it very discreetly. It was like, oh my god, they're making a Star Fox game, the first one since, they made, a DS game back in, back in 2006. So
yeah,
it
I think it was
years.
wasn't it, a remake of 64?
No.
No, that was on the 3DS.
Zero, if anything, was, a 64 reimagining. I don't want to even say remake. It was almost so Zero came out. It was almost like a reboot for the series. That it retold the story in a different way from 64. All flying segments, and they took segments from the unreleased game, or at the time unreleased game, Star Fox 2 on the SNES. The R-wing can turn into a walking mech, and you can use it to get through certain stages with that, which was pretty cool. And so it looked like, and it was very promising. It looked a lot like 64. The graphics were decent. They could have been better, but one of the big shortcomings of having a gamepad is that the Wii U had to display an image on the TV and the gamepad at the same time. So that was very taxing on the system.
Yeah.
So they had to sacrifice a little bit of graphical power for that, which it didn't. It looked good, but it wasn't
the control you had the cockpit?
Yeah.
That was the cockpit.
So the biggest shortcoming of all was the fact that the game was designed to be where you had to be dividing your attention between the TV and the gamepad at the same time, because the TV had the main image, you're watching your R-wing fly around like normal, but then to shoot things you had to go look down again at your the gamepad, which had the cockpit view. So it was a first person view. So you could be flying in one direction, but you can use the gamepad and move it to shoot in another direction. And it's on paper it seemed good, but execution wise it just completely failed in my opinion. A lot of people would agree. And that was the point where I was like, okay, this was just a bad idea of a system. The gamepad really just wasn't games should not be used this way. Nintendo needs to go back to the drawing board. And back to the drawing board they did go, and then
here we go.
We had the advent of the Switch, and honestly I believe the reboot, not even the revival, but a reboot of Nintendo in general.
Which now we're leading right into E3 this year, which is great.
And now I could leave.
So Jerry, they announced the game that you're very familiar with, Mario Party.
Ooh.
I don't know if you heard the whole Mario Party story. That was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Jerry's story from years ago.
How Jerry just bumbled his way into victory.
I feel like that's just if you're gonna ask anything about Jerry, how he goes about life, that's just the perfect story to put next to him on that.
But it's Super Mario Party, so I guess they're getting rid of the numbers and stuff.
I mean Mario Party hasn't been good in since many years. Yeah.
If there's too many of them, it can't be that good.
Yeah, I mean the 64 games was Mario Parties 1 through 3. Those are the classics. Everybody loves those. I had 4 and the last one I had was 5 on the GameCube, and 5 was when I was just I kind of dipped out.
I played 3. I wasn't a fan of 3, and I was just
I like 3. It was alright. I think it had the 2 was the best. I think a lot of people could agree 2 was the best. 2
was the best. I have
4 was good. Yeah. It was just kind of boring in my opinion. And then 5 just started to change things up. DK was no longer a character; he was a space, and they just it was just a lot of I haven't played it since I first played it and got rid of it when I was in high school. But there was a lot of things I didn't like about it. And then since then they added mechanics instead of everybody taking their own turn and go on their own spaces, everybody has to now be in a car together, and the car goes. It was really.
They were trying to make it fresh. I mean,
they were trying to streamline it, but it just didn't really work out so well. So with this Super Mario Party, it sounds like they're just trying to reboot the whole thing, and just I saw some gameplay clips of it. The mini games look good. It goes back to the old dynamic of everybody being separate. They're not mishmashing the car together, and Yeah, it looks fun. And they have like some little gimmicks too. Like if two people have like their own switch, they can put the switches together and like kind of there was like one mini game that they were using two switches to make like a path that they go
that's
from.
cool.
Yeah, so like it was like a tank game. They had like shoot each other, but like you make like you use two switches like to put them and angle them together. So like you make like the terrain that you can. Yeah, so
That's
like
awesome.
So like you're Yoshi in a tank and you go from one switch and you end up on the other one that you connected it to. So yeah, like little things like that, which is they're fun. But
So Gerry, will you be playing Mario Party?
Tomorrow.
Oh, God.
yeah, he's gonna be flying out
On
to
this
LA.
TV.
Yeah.
So what Nintendo game stood out to you probably for the Switch?
Well,
Probably Pokemon, right?
well, yeah. So, technically, Pokemon wasn't part of E3. They announced they
announced
for those
it
listening.
beforehand,
There's the new games that are coming out this fall. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee versions.
Let's go Eevee.
Yeah, so the Pokemon company separately announced those a couple weeks back, and I want to say mostly positive reviews, positive reception. I'm excited for them. It's a casual version. They are Pokemon games like at its core. Like you're still you get your Pokemon from the professor. You're going through cities. You're getting badges and all that stuff. Like catching.
There's no battling.
So
wild
yeah,
Pokemon,
so that's
right?
where the slight controversies start. So like these games are picking up from the major success of the app Pokemon Go that I think all of us kind of enjoyed a couple of years back.
Did you play that, Gerry?
No.
Oh wow.
Really? Oh, man, I feel like even like mothers and grandmothers were playing. It was like another Wii phenomenon all over.
I wouldn't be surprised if my mom played it before I did.
Yeah,
probably.
but like if you remember in Pokemon Go, like you never actually battled. Period. You always just like caught Pokemon, and you had like those like gym areas.
That you were able to battle, but
it was just like just tapping again and again until you win, basically, and it has like own leveling up system and all that stuff. But it was super successful. So these games, they kind of mix together like the aspects of Pokemon Go and the aspects of like a traditional Pokemon game. And selling point for me, they're a remake of Pokemon Yellow. So like you finally see Kanto, the red and blue region in full 3D, after
Plus you have a Pokemon follow you, right?
Yeah.
So it is yellow.
You can actually have two Pokemon following you because so like Pokemon Pikachu version and the Eevee version, whichever one you pick, those Pokemon will be following you. Like Pikachu will be on your shoulder, which is so cool.
That's awesome.
Eevee will be like sitting on like the trainer's head if you have the Eevee version, and then you can have another Pokemon, like the first one in your party, I guess, like follow you behind you. And what's really cool is that nowadays, like Pokemon games leading up to this, like if you see a Pokemon in the overworld, like they're all the same, size. Sprites and all that stuff. Yeah, they would never really put the scale, but in this game they are. So like you can have like a Charmander following behind you, but then if you decide to have like an Onix come out, he's not just following you; you're riding on top of the Onix. So like you have like a Charizard, you're gliding on top of Charizard, which is so awesome.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. And like and the thing is like like I said, they're taking cues from Pokemon Go. So like if you're battling a wild Pokemon, you're not going to battle it to catch it. So like people looked at that and said,
what's the point?
Yeah, so like but you are like when you battle trainers, it's the traditional battle system. And they incorporate like you play with one Joy-Con, you do a throwing motion to throw a Pokeball, which they're also
they're also coming out with the Pokeball,
the Pokeball Plus or whatever they call it. Yeah, which honestly it's really cool. Like I wish this stuff came out when we were kids. Like
I know that's the
first thing I thought of when I was watching the trailer for the game. I was like, if this was around when I was 8, like during like the phenomenon like of Red and Blue, like this.
When it was at its peak.
Yeah, and like and the Pokeball's cool. Like you can take a Pokemon from the game, put it in the Pokeball, quote unquote, and like bring it with you, and maybe it levels up. I don't know.
I have no clue, but that's
yeah. So like it's a cool little thing, but also and if you buy it, apparently it comes with Mew. That's what they announced during the E3 presentation. So but the thing is though, the thing costs $50.
Oh yeah.
So your choice if you want to buy it or not.
I would be the type to pay for it and never play it.
Yeah.
Did you play Pokemon?
Like once or twice, like on Nintendo 64. My resume is
Pokemon
so stacked
Stadium.
on Pokemon, obviously.
Pokemon Stadium.
Pokemon Stadium.
That's
yeah.
That was big too.
That they should bring back. I would love for them to
I
bring that back.
So this is how big of a not video game person I am. So I played Pokemon Snap for about 2 years, and I'm like, I'm done.
That game. Can we go back to the Wii U for like 2 seconds and just say like if Nintendo or the Pokemon company or whoever made Pokemon Snap made a new Pokemon Snap for Wii U, that system would have been so much more successful.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Like,
Because
it
you
would have
could
been
have just
perfect.
lifted it up. And
The
was like,
gamepad
snap.
would have been the camera. That
Yeah.
would have been the one game that those controls like would have made sense.
Pokemon selfie stick. Come on, guys.
Yeah. The Nintendo selfie stick. Yeah. For $70.
Yeah, a lot of games they didn't. Well, obviously, like people were asking me, like, "Oh, you were set? They didn't announce anything Zelda." I said, "Why?" I'm like, "They just came out with the game last year.
no.
Talk to me in 2 years.
Yeah, people. I
Then
saw
I'll
that.
be getting like a little."
So I frequent Reddit a lot, and like I go on like the Nintendo and Nintendo Switch subreddits, and like I've seen people say like, oh, like they should do like a new Zelda or something like.
Like, well, they just came out with
They just came out with like the biggest Zelda in its entire history, and they just came out with like DLC for it, like a few months back, like that. Like give us some
How
time.
much? What the first DLC Zelda ever got? Like,
yeah.
come on. Like,
I'd rather them like focus on other games for
Yeah.
the time being, and then like when things start to dry up with Zelda, they should make a new one.
to my disappointment, they didn't announce like Metroid.
Like
Like they announced it last year, Metroid Prime.
yeah, they didn't show a trailer. People
they
were
didn't
hoping
show
for that.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
too. So
upset.
like, I will say this E3. I mean, Smash Brothers was huge. We'll talk about that in a little bit, I'm sure. But like Smash Brothers like made the bulk of that whole presentation. If you watch the video, it was like a 45-minute video, but like 35 minutes of it was like devoted to like explaining the new Smash. But people were like hoping that they would have like at least like that one more thing to the presentation.
Oh, like, we have a surprise, and then just show something big.
A lot of people hoping for Animal Crossing. I was definitely hoping for
I never
Animal
played
Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
It's so good.
No.
Oh my god. No, like if you the GameCube one, the first one that came out in America at least was like I played that when I was like 12, and that was like
Is that
so-
is that the game in Japanese called Mom? No.
Mother. You're thinking
Mother?
of Earthbound.
Earthbound.
That's NES.
Okay,
yeah.
no, that's NES. Okay.
Yeah, so like, but in Japan it was actually an N64 game, and they brought that N64 game to the GameCube in America, and I forgot what it was, Animal Forest, I think it was called. In Japan, but like you're a human little dude like in a village full of animals that they're your neighbors, and you just you get a house, and you have this you meet up with this sneaky little raccoon tanuki guy called Mr. Nook, I think Tom Nook.
Mr. Nooks and Cranny.
Yeah, and people like to liken him to like the mob boss of like the game, because like he's always like okay, work for me and I'll get you a house and give you money and all this stuff, and he's always asking for more money so you can upgrade your house. But you're always collecting furniture and catching fish and bugs and all this stuff. There's like holidays like that, or each day, like the cool thing about those games is that each day passes in real time. So like it has like holidays that also go by in real time. So like it'll have its own version of like Christmas, and if you don't play it like on December 24th or 5th, you're gonna miss out. So like it's that type of game that it knows how to bring you back. Yeah, like at the time I never played anything like it. It was so cool, and they had other ones like on the DS and the Wii, which I wasn't a fan of, and the one on the 3DS, the last one that came out, New Leaf, was very good, because that one made you the mayor of the town, and it almost became like a SimCity sort of thing, where you can like make your own public works projects and like kind of like build up the town like in your image. So people were like big fans of that, and but we haven't had one since, and we haven't had like a home console Animal Crossing since like the Wii, and like I said, the Wii wasn't that good at all. And so people were hoping that, all right, Switch has been really good. They're going, Nintendo's been going back to like the more traditional games. Like hopefully we'll get like a real Animal Crossing this time, because the Wii U had an Animal Crossing game, quote unquote, but it was like a Mario Party spin-off type of thing. Yeah, and like it
Where's the party?
It forced you to buy like those amiibos. Like,
I hate those games that force you to buy amiibos.
Yeah, it might as well have been like a microtransaction game.
Yeah.
So you had to like buy amiibos to play it, and like people hated that. They were hoping for like that was like I said, like the Wii U just failed for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people were hoping for that for this E3, but they didn't announce that. So maybe next year. They purposely said, because they were asked about it afterwards. They were like, we played this one pretty close to the chest. We wanted to focus on games coming out like the end of this year, and like tease some games coming out like the beginning of next year. But we'll have more announcements as like the months go by. So hopefully maybe they'll drop a bomb out of nowhere. But yeah, like like I said, the presentation was really Smash centric. It was we had Mario Party, we had Fortnite announced for it, which was like probably like the worst kept secret in the entire.
Have you figured out how to play it yet?
Oh god, yeah. So like I hadn't played up until this point that it came out for the Switch. I downloaded it for free. It became available the day of the announcement, which was pretty cool. But they didn't do anything to like teach you like the controls or how to play. So you kind of just go about it like just completely blind. You don't know what you're doing. And
I find it stupid.
After like dying like 5 times in a row, I was like, all right, starting to get a hang of it. I mean,
screw this.
Yeah, it's the funnest game I've ever disliked. It's it'll have its time. It's that 15 minutes of fame type of game. I think it'll go the way of Pokemon Go. Like people will always play it, but like right now, like everybody's playing it. So like I think after like the hype dies down, it'll it'll go by the wayside.
Was there any like games that stood out to you other than Nintendo that you felt?
Like not too much. Like
that wasn't Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. Well, Square Enix has their own game coming out for the Switch called Octopath Traveler. And it's a really weird.
Oh, I'm so interested.
Really weird title, but they have like a demo on it that you can play on Switch. You can download for free, and I played it a bit. It's it's traditional type of RPG type of thing. You walk around, talk to people, fight turn-based battles, and all that stuff.
I have it up. Octopath
yeah, but the graphics, I don't know how the hell they did it, but it's like a weird 3D 2D mix, and it just looked like the whole thing looks like a pop-up diorama.
Oh, okay. So it looks like it's going for the old Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
On PlayStation, on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah. So if you play like old 2D Final Fantasies, like that would definitely appeal to you.
Yeah.
The way it looks and plays. But like I said, like it's just the way that they, they said it themselves. Like they made it. Trying to remember the words that they use. Magic graphic wizardry or whatever they said to make the graphics look the way they do. I don't know if you've seen it looking at pictures right now. But
yeah,
like,
I was just looking at it.
It's really cool. But
I
might be getting that.
Were you big into doing like remote games, playing with other people, like
like multiplayer games?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I mean you can never beat those nights where
I have a question for you on that. What would you say was the most confrontational experience you've had with people you don't know that you're playing with?
Oh, you're talking. So you mean like online?
Online,
yeah.
Like
okay.
Shooting games and stuff.
So the thing was with me, like I never got into games like Call of Duty or like I'm not a big shooting like first person shooter gamer type of guy. I always like I'm a Nintendo nerd, so like hey, like I love Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, like those like more like I don't know how to like describe it. Like I feel like those games like Call of Duty, like they're almost like simulations. They're like hyper realistic, like they're very they got complicated
Can you
game
imagine
mechanics.
playing them with like
I'm
the
not
VR
that type
set?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I would try it. Yeah.
Those VR.
I feel like it would make me fall at one point. So I'm not a VR fan either, but yeah.
Those VR scare me because like
I've seen videos of people falling down thinking that they're falling off of a cliff. Or, it's hysterical, but like I can see why. Like it's.
I watched this anime from Japan called Sword Art. I don't know if you've heard of it, and it's like VR, but you put the helmet on, and it literally transfers your conscious into the game. And then the guy who created the game comes into the game and disables the logout button.
Oh, so season 3 of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, right? so it just
the
traps,
virtual world.
Yeah, so it just traps everybody into it, and when you die in the game, it sends an electroshock to you that fries your brain and kills you.
That's scary as hell.
And I'm literally
really
like, that's gonna be the next step with this VR stuff, that they're gonna start trapping people and killing people.
Yeah, no, that's I'm not a big VR fan at all.
I'm just reading something: Mario plus Rabbit Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure.
So yeah, they I don't know if you knew from last year they came out with they worked with Ubisoft to come out with like a Rabbids game and Rabbids and Mario crossover game that was.
I hate the Rabbids because I feel like they've ruined Rayman.
They're like the minions of the video game world.
They ruined Rayman.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, because I played Rayman 2 on the N64, which is a freaking awesome game.
Yeah,
it's creepy as hell, but it's fucking awesome. And like when they came out with like Rayman versus Rabbids or something like that, I was like, "What is this?" Like,
yeah, no, it was that was like I think that was a Wii game. It was the first appearance in that era. Yeah,
I was like, "Oh,
and
why are you doing this?"
But yeah, they made a game with Ubisoft. It was a crossover with Rabbids and Mario, and like it incorporated gameplay mechanics to the game XCOM. It's a strategy game that
XCOM.
It's not exactly turn based. Well, I think it is. I haven't played either game, but like from watching like videos of it, like it's a very like strategy heavy game, and people like it a lot. People who've bought it said it's like they were really shocked at how good the game ended up being because they weren't expecting much of it at all. So this year they added DLC to add Donkey Kong to the mix. So that's basically what it is. He has his own. He's a character now. He has his own moves, and whatever he does in that game. And hopefully people are excited about that. And I never bought the game, so I didn't really care much. But yeah, but I did buy Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze that they re-released for the Switch
Yeah, when they came out with Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I was like, oh my god.
It's
I'm a big Donkey Kong Country fan.
Yeah, when they came out with Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii. That was big.
Yeah.
I remember that being. Those were from the people that made Metroid Prime.
Oh yeah,
That was
that's
Retro
right.
Studios.
Oh,
Yeah.
Metroid Prime. How much I love Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when they announced that last year, Metroid Prime, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
'Cause I love those. Echoes, the second one, is like my favorite freaking game. I would play that.
I need to play that. I actually own it, but I got it like when I was young, and I never got too much into it. I played a lot of the first Prime, and I played some of the third Prime, but it was the motion controls were.
It's like a Link to the Past, where it's like you're switching back and forth between the light.
Oh
and
yeah,
dark
no, I
world.
know it was like a light and dark
it's like
world.
Metroid. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Another game that they announced, which wasn't Nintendo, which will probably come on the Switch. Yeah, it's gonna come on the Switch probably. It's like Skyrim. You ever play that?
Well, Skyrim is already on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the next Elder Scrolls. That's
Oh yeah, so Elder Scrolls 6, but they didn't specify which systems are getting it.
Yeah.
So
it'll probably come out on the Switch.
Yeah. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
It has. Yeah, like I said, like the Switch has been running games on it that you wouldn't expect it to. Like.
Dark Souls. I was like, what?
It's getting Dark Souls remastered sometime in the summer. That game that got delayed. It was supposed to come out in May. But it was it runs games like that. Wolfenstein 2 is coming on, getting on the system this summer, I think. End of June, actually. I think end of this month. And I might be mistaken about that though. But what else is that? Doom, like I said, the Doom game that came out like a year or two ago.
I wish that they would re-release the original Doom.
Yeah, hey, why not? But going back to Metroid, also like Metroid Prime. We played 1, 2, and 3. Now they're coming out with 4.
Oh my god!
So that was last year's Megaton. That was what people were hoping for this year. Like they had like another like teaser.
Probably
like
next
that.
year.
But if you go on like YouTube and just like search like Metroid Prime 4 reactions, like you will be entertained for hours.
Which reaction do you think was bigger, the Metroid Prime 4 one, or if you want to go way back to when they announced Twilight Princess?
Well, see, so
Yeah.
those are two completely different moments in my opinion, because like they just showed a logo for Metroid Prime 4, and like Twilight Princess, when they first showed it off, it was a full-on trailer.
Yeah.
And I would have to say like it has to be the Twilight Princess one from 2004.
I was convinced that they were going to swerve us and do the whole space world thing again, where it's like, hey, this is what Zelda's going to look like on the Wii.
I will say, I mean, this might be unpopular opinion, but I will say, like, Twilight Princess is not one of my favorite.
That's a get
ones.
out. No,
it's Twilight Princess. Comparing it to like the original trailer, it ended up being something that was kind of disappointing in my opinion. I don't know.
Well, I hate Skyward Sword. That's.
I won't knock you for that. I liked it.
Yeah,
it was fresh. I think it did motion controls better than other Wii games.
It was too linear. It was too
it was way too close, and I think that's how we got Breath of the Wild, because it's complete opposite.
I think Breath of the Wild is too free roaming. That's what it is. It's like,
but you know what? It's a good. I hope they build upon that. Like I think that's what people are hoping, that we were saying before, that people are hoping for a new Zelda. Like I hope when they do make a new Zelda, they keep the world that they made. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's too big to just get rid of like that.
Yeah.
And maybe add real dungeons. Make things a little less free roaming, maybe, to make it work.
I'm still hoping for an Ocarina of Time sequel, which will never come.
That was Majora's Mask.
Yeah. I love Majora's Mask, but it's like,
that's the best you're gonna get. That's another divisive Zelda game.
Do you have a favorite video game story?
In terms like
the whole story from beginning to end, like when you, let's say if you're fighting through like every chapter of like the story.
Oh, guys, like an actual like story of a video
exactly.
game. I have to say, it might be like a weird answer, but Pokemon from Red and Blue to the end of Gold and Silver. I think those are like Pokemon games that came after that kind of just like ended up being their own thing. But like Gold and Silver was like like really like juxtaposed next to Red and Blue, as it's like a continuation.
Like, literally.
Yeah, like like the region, like the Johto region was part of the Kanto region, like right next to it. And,
separated by that mountain.
Mount Silver, and like to this day, the biggest jaw drop moment of my entire gaming career, if you want to call it a career, was like I played the hell out of like I think Gold version, and like I got to like the Kanto region that you could revisit in, which was like a shock in itself. I was like, I remember you go back to like the Professor like Elm in the new.
He's like, here's a ticket, take the train.
I was like, oh, are you serious? I can just go back, like and then, so I did that whole thing. That was crazy.
And it wasn't like they put like a reskin of the original.
Yeah, they made a continuation.
They literally like made it like 5 years later.
Yeah. So like
5
you go to
years later.
Cinnabar Island and half the island's like underneath like molten, like not molten lava, but like a volcano exploded on Cinnabar Island. Like only half, like the Pokemon Center was left.
Yeah.
And so like it continued. That's what I'm saying. Like it continued the story of like Red and Blue really well. And but then like you get through all that, you get like the Kanto badges like from Brock to Giovanni again or whoever. I think they changed whoever.
No, it was Gerry.
Gerry, yeah. Or Blue. Yeah. And then, so you do all that, you beat the Elite Four again, and then you get access to this Mount Silver, and you're just like, okay, this is a mountain, whatever. Let's just go. Maybe there's cool Pokemon in it.
And then
I remember I just kept traversing through it, not knowing I wasn't expecting much. I was just like, something's got to be here.
And then the big reveal.
And then you get to the final room. You're at the top of the mountain. You go all the way like to the end of the room there, and then there's just this sole person just standing away from you, and then you go up to him, press A, he turns around, ... Pokemon battle, and then you see Pokemon Trainer Red from Red and Blue, and I was like, when I was a kid, my jaw was on the floor for like 5 hours.
And he's the hardest freaking trainer out there.
It was nuts. I was like, oh my god, this is where he is. Like, this is what he's been doing. He's on a mountain now. That's so crazy. Like,
it's the equivalent of it's equivalent of the Force Awakens when you just that last scene where
it was crazy. Yeah, no, definitely.
Literally.
Yeah.
Mine probably Ocarina of Time. Just for beginning that, because I'll tell you a funny story was when I had the Game Boy, I had Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
And I was a Zelda fan, but I wasn't like a fanatic.
When did you play
Ocarina of Time?
Not Ocarina of Time, the Super Nintendo one, the
Link's Awakening?
Not Link's Awakening.
I mean,
Link to the Past.
Oh, that was many years later.
Yeah, okay. Because I know that they alluded to the events of Ocarina of Time in Link to the Past.
I still remember this, and he's probably listening. My cousin came over to my house one day and showed me the cartridge, the gold cartridge of Ocarina of Time. And he was up to Ganondorf at the end. He couldn't beat him. So he was over at my house playing it, and my mind was like blown.
Yeah.
And I begged my mom to get Ocarina of Time for me for Christmas that year.
Yeah.
She got it for me, and
the whole thing. So fun fact.
Yeah.
It's horrible Nintendo fan that I am. I actually never played. I did play at some point, but I didn't play Ocarina of Time until the Wii Virtual Console version came out.
God.
I never owned it on the original Nintendo.
Well, Larry's
64.
never played.
Yeah, exactly. And I never knew what Legend of Zelda was until I played the first Smash Brothers.
Oh my God.
When that was my. I didn't know what a lot of.
Well, with you, I didn't know who Samus was until
right.
I
I'm saying honestly, I feel like Smash Brothers made me the Nintendo fan that I am, because that's what opened my eyes to Metroid and F-Zero and Zelda and all those things. Before then, I was just always playing Mario and Pokemon. And then 8 years old, I played Smash Brothers for the first time. It's like, oh, who's that? And all these people.
Yeah, I was never a fan of it just because I suck at it.
Oh, Smash Brothers?
Yes, I'm terrible.
Oh, man.
I'm terrible. Does everybody
get good, son?
No, it's like I play with everybody, and I'm the first person everybody aims for, and they just find it funny.
You gotta find the right character.
Yeah, well, I'm usually Link.
Yeah, no, he's good.
Or Ganondorf.
Ganondorf, he's coming back in a great way.
Yeah, but they announced every single character.
Jigglypuff.
Who?
I'm usually Jigglypuff.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, because Gerry.
Yeah.
Kick your ass in it.
Which is funny. You could get your ass kicked by Jigglypuff. That's.
Are we doing them good on time? Do you want to do Smash Brothers after the break or?
Well, I wasn't going to go on break, but.
Okay. I know you usually do that. So.
Yeah.
I don't take breaks here.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Episode of Collective Podcasting is sponsored by Da Piera. They're on 1970 Victory Boulevard. You like Italian cooking?
Absolutely.
Well, this is authentic Southern Italian cooking. They have a chef directly from Italy, which is in the city. Great Italian food. They have pizza. They have sandwiches. Real authentic Italian food. Ate there last week. Really great. I suggest everybody go. And tell them the Caputo Collective sent you. And we're back with our E3 Extravaganza coverage that Gerry has no clue what we're talking about.
Sorry, you got me.
Proud to be the host.
But we're going to talk about the big Nintendo reveal, which took up pretty much all of the Nintendo E3 event.
85% of the entire
Smash Bros.
Yeah,
take it away.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
What was the other one called? It was Smash Bros. Then it was Smash Bros.
So Super Smash Brothers for the N64, and then you had Super Smash Brothers Melee, which is
That was
a
GameCube.
lot of competitive players, like the Holy Grail, can't beat it. Like top of peak of the series. Brawl came out, Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii, and then you just had the so originally titled Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and the 3DS. And which was cool. It was the first time it was ever portable. And then here we are with the Switch, and now we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So the big thing about this game is, rather than the new players who are coming in, it's really about the fact that all characters whoever appeared on any Super Smash Bros. Game, even if they appeared once or are appearing now in this game. So
except for Waluigi.
Well, he never appeared. He was always.
Well, he was a trophy.
He was an assist trophy. Yeah. So I mean, you got players like you got Young Link coming back. You got,
yes.
Even Pichu's coming back. I don't know who actually wanted him. Snake from Brawl. He was Solid Snake. He appeared in Brawl. He's coming back. Literally anybody who was in a Smash Brothers game as a playable character is coming back, and that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, the Avengers too. And Goku and Knuckles.
No, I feel like
joke.
No, I feel like if Nintendo ever got into like the movie industry, which I've been hearing that they want to, and I'm like, I gotta get.
Well, they already are with the Super Mario. They're making a movie on it.
I know. I gotta get famous fast because I gotta make that Zelda movie.
Oh,
But no, I feel like if they ever had like a cinematic universe, Smash Bros would be like the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you played Smash Brothers Brawl on the Wii.
Yeah.
So you remember like the single player mission game, Subspace Emissary, I think they called it? That could have been a movie.
Yeah, that could have been.
Remember all the cutscenes that they had?
Yeah.
Remember that the one scene with like the Kirby was like on his like Kirby air ride thing, and he just like flew through that whole like gunship and made it explode, and like any character that had like a ship in general, like Star Fox on his R-Wing and Pikmin on his like little rocket ship, they were all like shooting. It was the craziest thing. They could have made that a movie.
He's a character I feel like gets no love, Kirby, because he had like the 3 Dreamland games and then.
He gets a lot of games.
I don't like Kirby Yarn. It's like.
I mean he's had a lot of weird games, but like he if you trim the fat and like take away a lot of his like one-off games, like his mainline games are really good. Nothing gets better than the 64 title.
Crystal
Shards.
Amazing.
A lot of people like the one that came out on the Switch recently, Star Allies. I played the demo. I wasn't a fan of it. People said play the full game. It's better than the demo. But
I was a Dreamland fan.
Yeah, I love Crystal Shards just because you can combine powers.
Yeah, that was Dreamland 2.
Really?
When that started, Kirby's Dreamland 2.
Really? I didn't know.
That's where that started.
Yeah.
And then 64.
Yeah, and fun fact, the person who created Kirby is the same person who created Smash Brothers.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, Masahiro Sakurai. God tier.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah, no, he is like probably like he is hardcore. Let me tell you something about him. The Masahiro Sakurai, he is like he made Kirby when he was like 19. He's like only like he looks 19 now, but he's like in his 40s. He was I heard stories about him that he pours his life into these games, like making them like to the point where he has like health issues. Like the Wii U game, he had like
he was the one that had
cramps. He had to like use like a ball mouse to make the games and everything. But he was like showing off like games to like people like in the presentation, and he had literally 3 GameCube controllers in front of him, and he was playing all 3 of them with his 2 hands at the same time. It was and people who said that watched it said it was insane. And so he knows what he's doing with game design, and I mean he loves this series. He loves the franchises that he brings into it. He makes you couldn't find a better fanboy, because that's what he is. He's a fanboy. That's exactly what this type of game needs.
I feel like you gotta be when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, but
you have
he
to
gets
be
every detail down.
Yeah.
Like like the history behind like the animations and the moves and the voices and like the dialogue and everything. Just the way that each character fights, and because he tries to get like each character's like how they play in their own games. Like he wants to bring that to Smash Brothers, and he does a very good job at it. He's and I personally feel like after this game, this might be his last game, like Smash Brothers game that he works on, because like I feel like this is like, okay, screw this, I'm giving you guys everybody. I'm calling Smash Brothers Ultimate. Don't complain. I'm done. Like that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, no, but he obviously he loves his work though. But if he retires after this, I mean it's well earned. It's and a lot of like all the characters are coming back. I saw like a whole ton of like old stages too that they're bringing back. Like the Pokemon one
Stadium.
well, not Pokemon Stadium stage. I'm sure that's coming back. The Silph Co stage from N64.
Oh,
with the,
oh,
yeah,
wow.
remember that?
That's,
Like, with the Pokemon coming out of the building and
that's
everything.
the rooftop, right?
Yeah. That's coming back. Like a lot of like classic.
Rooftop party.
Oh, rooftop.
Yeah, a lot of classic stages like that are coming back, and there's a few newcomers. I'll save the biggest newcomer for last. We got Daisy from Mario, which I mean, hey, why not? She's like a clone character, which.
Well,
Nintendo's
she was
finally-
from Super Mario Land.
Yeah, she actually had like a mainline game.
Yeah.
Fine. I always just saw her as like like she's a side character that you have in like Mario Party and tennis.
Well, she's Luigi's girlfriend.
Yeah, but you put her in, but you didn't put in Waluigi. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, but no, but she like so like.
Luigi's the third wheel.
Yeah, he's always the third wheel.
Well, fourth wheel.
Yeah.
Because it's
Oh,
Mario.
Wario.
No, because it's Mario,
Mario.
Luigi, Wario, and then Waluigi.
Yeah, the
So-
Wario
so-
brothers.
so
Yeah,
they're
the
the
Wario
game.
brothers.
Yeah, and Wario's in the game, so like
I
why
love
not
Wario.
have yeah.
I always play Wario when it's Mario Party or when it's Mario Kart.
Yeah,
That's
no,
my
he's
character.
He's a funny character.
That's my
playing
character.
Smash Brothers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just so wacky. But the thing is with him, he has his WarioWare series, so that's what they modeled him after. And that. Yeah.
When
It's
they
fun.
went to
They're fun.
WarioWare, I was like, give me a mainline game. Don't.
No, but they did. They came. Well, Wario Land Shake It came out for the Wii, which was weird. I never played it. It was weird. It looked cool. It was like a moving cartoon type of game.
Wario Land 2 is still my favorite. That was on the Game Boy.
They should come out with Wario Land. Now.
Yeah.
I'm not against that.
Yeah.
But so they came out with Daisy, and they for the first time they acknowledged having clone characters. So a clone characters, for those who don't know, like it's a character that you have like one character, and then like they make another one that fights almost just like that character.
It's basically it's just a reshading.
Right,
much.
yeah,
It's
like
like
almost
change the hair.
it's like a glorified reskin where like they look and act a lot like the character, but they have different like stats, and, in terms of like weight and attack power, like how they defend themselves, how far they fly when they get hit, all that, and like how their attacks come out. But so like they call them, I think, Echo characters now, and so Daisy is an Echo character of Peach, so she still like has like
Cheeky.
most of her attacks with like little tweaks here and there. So they got her. The actual new character, the Inkling from Splatoon, which I am totally maining. I love Splatoon.
I was about to ask you if you.
I am a huge Splatoon fan. Anybody who has a Switch and doesn't have Splatoon, please buy Splatoon 2. It's so good.
Get out of
But so like Splatoon is like it's Nintendo's answer for the most part to like a competitive shooter. It's not first person obviously, but it's like a third person shooter, and the genius of it is like you're not shooting each other. You can to like slow down the team. But you're really aiming for everything else around you. So like it's a paintball game, like or ink they call it. So like each team has their own color, and you shoot your colored ink all over the turf. So and that's the name of the game is Turf War.
This is a PG show, man.
No,
PG
it's,
show.
honestly the whole game looks like one. Like Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
It looks like Nickelodeon made the game, almost like with the slime and all that stuff. Like the yeah. But like but it's like crazy colors, like pink colored ink and green and orange and all that stuff. And like
PG show,
by
PG
the end of the it's a timed match, and at the end of the match, whichever team got more of that color on the turf than the other one, that they're the winner. And it's,
Why wasn't that a Nintendo? Not a Nintendo, a Nickelodeon game show when we were a kid?
right? Yeah, they could have
What
totally
the
done
hell?
that.
Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. But they could make a Splatoon show if they wanted to. Like, make it like that.
I
Yeah.
think they're missing out on that.
Yeah, I can totally see that being a cartoon.
Well, Double Dare's coming back, so that's
Yeah. But and it's but it's fun. It's it looks colorful and friendly, and it is. But like it's very like it's a very in depth game. Like there's a whole slew of like weapons and different depending on even what you wear, like gives you different abilities and things like that. So you really get into it like with like how you can build your character and everything. And they have like their single player stories and everything like that. And they announced the DLC for that game too. That was another part of E3. The release of it rather. And so it's a huge game in Japan. Like it's like almost like a cultural phenomenon there. Very popular here.
I could see that.
People were hoping that like the Inkling, that's what the names of the little characters are called, would make it to Smash, and sure enough they did. I'm so excited, and they were showing off the movesets for that, so they're sticking pretty true to how they play in like the Splatoon games. So that's that, and then the final reveal after because there was a whole presentation of like how each character is like coming back or how they're different. Save the best for last. They showed this trailer. It was Samus and Mario and Mega Man behind her. They're just going through this dark sci-fi corridor, and it's quiet. And then as they're walking, like, boom, Mega Man gets hit. He gets killed by something shadowy, like a tail going through his his chest, which was really morbid. There was like a silhouette image of that. And then the same thing happens to Mario, that you see him like his hat, like he loses
Oh
his
my
hat
God.
and like, he gets like taken out by the throat, and like it's a
Oh my
silhouette.
God.
It's like very it's kind of they legit like get killed in that scene. But and then you see Samus, like she hears it behind her, she closes her eyes, she has this look on her face like there's only one person or dragon rather that I know that is probably here right now. She turns around, you see Mario's hat just lying on the ground, and then it's like a Jurassic Park moment, like like just stomping, you see Mario's hat shake, and then bam, through the floor comes Ridley, and
he's a playable character.
he is a playable character.
How the
That
hell
was
is that
like
gonna
honestly
work?
like Xbox had all the other companies had like game announcements. I feel like Nintendo just made the Megaton character announcement. That's all they needed to say was that Ridley was in the game. So Ridley is like anybody who doesn't play Metroid. That's the game that he's from. It's basically like the Bowser of the Metroid series for the most part. It's had a lot of villains, but Ridley is definitely the most significant one. Always involved in most of the games, and from a villain standpoint. People have always wanted him in the game. Like Bowser, came to the game. You got Ganondorf playing in Smash
My
Brothers.
man.
So like, even King Dedede from Kirby,
Oh.
like the penguin guy with the hammer.
Yeah, the Ganondorf is getting a skin from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, so
He's getting that, and he's getting his pig form.
Yeah, so well, his first game in Smash Brothers game in Melee, he had his Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
look.
well, that was the most
And
recent.
then Twilight Princess came out, so then Brawl and the Wii U game, he had like his Twilight Princess look, which it looked cool.
Yeah,
but it's Twilight Princess is old
He had
by
his
now.
cornrows,
yeah.
Gerry.
There
Yeah.
you go.
It was just so random. You fight him in Twilight Princess. Like, does he have cornrows?
Yeah,
It's
it was
like,
really
oh,
weird.
It's
It was
very
really
weird.
But I mean, Twilight Princess is like old
Yeah,
news
well-
by now. Like Ocarina of Time will always remain a classic. So that they did it was a good decision to bring him back to that design. But like I said, like Ridley, he looks absolutely brutal. Like he has like these attacks that he grabs people by the throat, drags them on the ground. Like I think he has like a one-hit KO attack I saw at one point that he stabs them with his tail, and
Oh, that
they
must-
faint.
must, like,
And
build up to
it must
that.
be like where you time it, like almost like Jigglypuff's like rest attack, where you time it the right way and you just instant KO. Because there was like the scene where he stabs like Link with his tail. Link just drops to the ground. He doesn't even fly away. He just drops to the ground and he disappears. I was like,
Oh,
wow,
man.
that's
So
crazy.
is Ridley going to be like the final boss in like the campaign mode or something?
No, well, that's what they made him.
Or is it still the hand?
So they always try to fashion Ridley into the Smash Brothers games without actually making him a character. Like he was a boss in Brawl. He was like a stage boss in the Wii U game, like on the Metroid stage. Like he would come and wreak havoc and stuff. And they made it where in the Wii U game they made it where even though he's like a stage hazard, they made him like a character that they gave him his own little icon, and you can kill him, and if you did, you get points. But he was never playable until now. And like it's funny too because everybody was like the stigma was always that like Ridley was too big because he's a very big character. But the thing is, he always like kind of fluctuated in size between games.
Yeah.
And if you play the first Metroid where he first on the
he's
NES,
tiny.
he's big, but like not too much bigger than like Samus. So like I think they brought him to like that sort of scale in the Smash Brothers. So that was a huge reveal. So like that's finally coming to fruition. Years and years of years and years of memes are dead. People making memes about him never coming into Smash Brothers. You can stop with that now. And now you can actually focus all those memes onto Waluigi because I think he's next. Got to get him next. But
Well, the one character I want, which is just I know we've been complaining. People have been complaining about it for years. Is they want like Banjo-Kazooie
oh yes, me
in
too.
Smash Bros.
Yeah. Hey, there's still a shot. I mean, there's. He said Masahiro Sakurai said that don't expect too much new in this game, given that he's bringing everybody old back from like the old games. But that still gives room for like a couple more reveals. I think like before the game comes out like in December, which is so long from now.
Well, it's Christmas.
But I was
the gift they
I
keep
was
on
hoping.
giving.
You know what it is? Like Nintendo's coming out with their paid online plan, which kind of sucks. In September,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it. I mean, it's cheap, great, but like it's not doing any favors. Like because you can play for free now, like online, and it's not adding anything like dedicated servers or anything like that. Like
I still want the virtual console to come out.
Yeah, that's
never...
what people were hoping too, that they would for this E3 that they would announce virtual console titles to come through, but they're not doing that. They're subbing that out. Like it used to be where they would have like their online shop. You'd buy like the virtual console title, like the original Super Mario Brothers for the NES, and you'd keep it. Now it's like
now it's subscription based, right?
Yeah, so like and they're starting off with just NES games. So like and then Super Nintendo and I think N64 will follow. yeah, so like you pay like
That's
$20 a
BS.
year, which is cheap again, but like yeah, and you
That's-
get to play those games for free, but you don't own them.
That's just
yeah, but
stupid.
well, you notice too, they are
You know why?
adding
Because probably they have the
mini,
the Nintendo
the mini
Mini
classic
and stuff,
systems.
that it's,
Yeah. I knew that was gonna be the case.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
They are fun, but yeah, like when I saw that, I was like, they're probably gonna make that like the buy to keep option.
Yeah.
But they will be adding like online modes to a lot of the old games. Like you can play like an NES game with like some sort of like online feature. Like maybe play online Mario NES, like Super Mario Brothers. So yeah, you know, but they have yet to really release details about that stuff. So that's what people were hoping for too, that they didn't do. But anyway, yeah, no. So going back to Smash Brothers though, you know, apparently there are like tens of thousands of tweaks and just differences from like the past games that they made to like characters in this game. So and you know, and that they're adding new assist trophies, and one of which I saw at one point. So they had like after like their presentation, they had like a tournament for the new Smash Brothers game. So at one point, like you know, they streamed it live, and at one point, Knuckles came out as an assist trophy, which people were starting to say.
Which Knuckles? Is it Knuckles or Ugandan Knuckles?
Oh my God! No, regular Knuckles,
Oh,
but
okay.
now you're making me want him for Smash Brothers. But no, people are saying that because Shadow was always Shadow the Hedgehog was always the assist trophy. Yeah, but so that people are saying like
It's
maybe
me.
since Knuckles is the assist trophy now, maybe they're gonna upgrade, promote Shadow
Knuckles?
to playable. That would be pretty.
Oh
cool.
well, you
And
think,
as an Echo character, as like you know how Daisy is to Peach.
yeah. Shadow was always a Knuckle.
Yeah, and like you know, and they tweaked like everybody's final smashes, like you know, like Fox no longer has like the Landmaster tank, which I hated. Like it's just like the R wings just
Smashes
shoot people
everybody.
into the air and like killing them. Yeah, like that. You know, so they streamlined that. Yeah, so just like so many new things. Like I said, it's just a matter of the fact that like everybody from the old Smash Bros. Games are here now. It's nuts. So I can't wait.
I feel like Smash Brothers had the best when it first came out. Had the best commercial.
Oh
for it.
yeah,
Yeah, you remember?
It's the first time I ever heard the song "Me and You." Me and you, and you and me.
Yeah, everybody starts beating each other.
And they were all like,
That
like
I have to. That
They're
was
all
the
beating the
best
crap out of each other.
promotion. You
Yeah.
sit and you're like, why are they all beating each other up? It's like Smash Bros. It's like, oh my god.
yeah, no, but it's such a classic.
And then like everybody else tries to like copy it. It's like PlayStation came out with their battle.
Oh
Battle
yeah,
Royale?
Battle Royale,
Battle
classic
Royale,
or something.
right.
All Star, yeah, Battle.
Battle
All-Stars Battle
All-Star
Royale.
Battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, it's the PlayStation Smash Brothers, and then they have like
That's how they
no
should promote it.
characters.
Yo, what the PlayStation 5
They had like no characters.
Yeah, I know.
stuff.
I think the best that they had was like the BioShock guy. And yeah, I mean, you're the PlayStation person, not
Oh
me.
well, I'm
so,
not,
yeah.
I'm not really a PlayStation person. I'm the Nintendo
You are more than
guy.
me because I was always
Oh,
a
yeah.
Nintendo guy.
I'm the Sega like Nintendo
Oh, yeah.
guy. I'm not the PlayStation like.
I'm
The reason why I got
technical.
PlayStation was because of Kingdom Hearts, and a couple other things. But
Yeah.
other than that, it was.
Well, I was gonna say that it's a good segue into the other parts of E3 that were not Nintendo related. I think we're
Yeah.
finally getting a release date for Kingdom Hearts 3,
Oh,
right?
oh
is
my
it
God.
actually coming out?
It's
is it real?
okay.
Is it real? Is
So
it real
so
thing?
you can pre-order it. You could pre-order it now.
But they
It's
don't say when
January-
it's coming
no,
to your
January,
house.
January 29th, 2019.
Okay.
Everybody's bitching. Who's
Oh, they-
2018? It's
Yeah.
like, guys, you got a freaking release date. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, I
what's
can
going on?
understand that though. Like they missed like the big holiday rush and all that stuff.
No,
yeah.
but it's like people are like, it's disgusting that it took 14 years. I'm like, but you had all these other games in between. It's not 3. I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you're getting 3. It looks freaking amazing.
It does, yeah.
It's,
the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh my
thing,
God, they had that in 2.
Yeah,
It was
Jack
only the
Sparrow
first
was so
movie?
like and I heard they actually got
Yeah.
what's his name to
Yeah.
voice him.
Yeah,
Um,
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
The one thing I feel is a missed opportunity, since I explained it since you never played it. The second Kingdom Hearts game, you fight 1,000 Heartless at once.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
They
like
will
one of the
run that?
greatest. Oh no, it's
Yeah.
one of the greatest like things ever. It's like you're just beating them up.
Yeah.
I haven't played that game in so
Oh
long.
yeah, but I feel like they missed a great opportunity. And I remember telling Jimmy this. I told Joe this. I told a couple of other people that were Kingdom Hearts fans. I said the Battle of New York from the Avengers.
Yeah.
I'm like just them coming out of the wormhole.
I agree. Yeah, I
I'm
totally
like,
agree with
why
that.
are you not?
That would be absolutely crazy. Bring in Star Wars people with that.
Yeah,
too.
well, I don't know Star Wars, but it's like
mix up worlds.
But it's like, come on, Loki would be perfect in
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts. have Tony Stark, all the other people, but then they look up and it's not the Chitauri, but it's the freaking
Sora.
Heartless.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh, the
Heartless
Heartless,
coming
yeah,
out,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, it's a missed opportunity. You never know; they might shock us with it.
Yeah,
They might keep
that
using-
would be cool. I mean, that would be a really big missed opportunity if Disney didn't try
Oh,
like,
yeah.
pushing that into the game.
I'm not a fan of Frozen, so like they got the
Oh,
Frozen
God,
land. I'm
yeah.
like, and then they have Wreck-It Ralph land.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph 2, did you see that scene where all the Disney princesses are
Oh,
in like, one room and she busts in, they're about to like attack her? I think at one point you see like, there's a meme about it too, that like Cinderella like takes her glass slipper and like breaks
Just
it.
beating the crap.
Yeah,
It's like
breaks it,
Shrek.
breaks it to like shank her. I'm like, what the hell?
It's like Shrek. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
my god. What are some other quick games? Well, Mega Man 11 is coming out. I'm a big Mega Man X fan.
Mega Man's coming back for Smash?
Yeah,
too?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Christian. After
Yeah.
seeing such an extensive list, at this point, we gotta make a Tekken bowling game happen.
Tekken bowling?
Tekken bowling.
Well, Gerry
Come
loves
on.
Tekken.
Really?
It's actually one of my favorite fighting games.
Huh. That's interesting.
Oh, Assassin's
That,
Creed.
that and Soul Calibur are my two favorites.
Wait, Soul Calibur?
Yeah.
Did you ever play the one that Link was in?
No.
For
Well,
the
I didn't
GameCube?
have.
I wanted to get that when I was younger. Yeah, I never got to, but
I used to play Soul Calibur 2 a lot, actually.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I got the PlayStation 1 at the end of its life cycle,
Yeah.
and I got the PlayStation 2 at the end of its life cycle.
I was actually thinking this to myself like the other day. Like, it's probably like a better idea to always buy systems like near the end of their
Yeah.
life cycle, so you already have like all the games. You know what
Yeah.
you're getting. But
I bought the PlayStation 4 like 20. So I bought. Okay, this is what I did. I bought it September of 2014.
Mhm.
Because of Destiny.
okay.
Yeah, and it was like a good maybe 2 years of just hardcore playing Destiny.
Not Dark Souls.
No, oh god, no. Oh god, I played the game once I died, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole
I'm
point of the game is to
yeah,
die
I
again
don't,
and again.
I don't have the patience. Like, I'll die a bunch of times,
Yeah,
but it's
well,
like I have to be invested in
I'm
it.
definitely getting that when it comes out for Switch Remastered. And
Oh yeah.
I was talking to my friend the other day. If they were to re-release, you ever play Portal?
Yes.
Oh my God! If
Yes.
they release Portal
They-
1 and 2 on
they wanna make
Switch,
a
I
movie.
will go nuts.
They want to make a movie of Portal.
That would be sick. I'd
Oh.
watch it. I love Portal. Portal's like the Portal was probably like the one time I ever played like a non-Nintendo game and I felt like FOMO for not having that system. I think it was like on the Xbox I was playing
Oh,
on.
the big one, The Last of Us, Part 2.
Oh yeah, so that was Sony's Megaton.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Last of Us 2 is
I know.
coming out. Yeah.
Jimmy's like Jimmy and his dad just play the shit out
Yeah,
of the
that's
first
like
one.
my friend was saying this too, that you know, they like Nintendo really should try to make a game like that. Like
Yeah.
they're not a big fan of like story-driven games. They usually try, you know, they
If
they
it's
have
not
stories.
Zelda, if it's
Yeah.
not Zelda or Metroid,
Even Zelda,
Even
though. I mean,
Zelda,
like, they
yeah.
don't even have an official time. Like they try to make up a timeline for Zelda, but they're just like they're always gameplay first, story second.
yeah, it's like so.
And-
Where does the Breath of the Wild fit in timeline?
Yeah. So like, you know, like yeah, Last of Us is like an interactive movie, like the way.
Oh
it's,
my
like,
God.
Like it's
They want to make it. They want to make it in.
they should. I felt like watching Logan, the movie Logan,
Pretty
was
much.
like a Last of
Pretty
Us
much.
2, like him and
I
the
know.
daughter.
I know they wanted like Dave Bautista to play the main guy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I was thinking,
I could probably see that, but
Yeah.
all I would see is Drax.
Yeah. Well, that'd be like powerbomb him, powerbomb him.
Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora? Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be our friend Kenny's game.
Yeah, that's
choice.
like, oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, he's already waiting for the last skin to be revealed. He's like, if it's not Venom, I'm gonna flip out. I'm like,
Or like Dark Suit
yeah, Dark Suit.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
But that's pretty much gonna be Arkham of.
Yeah, it looks
Uh,
good. So I would try that game out.
Did they announce a Superman game?
The sequel to Superman 64. No.
No. Oh,
yeah.
oh my god.
It's coming out.
Just when you
We
thought
doubled the amount of kryptonite fog.
just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Yeah.
Oh, Star Wars: The Fallen Order, Battlefront 2. Which
Is this still for Sony? Or
yeah,
is
no,
this,
this
Microsoft?
is this is PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox
Okay.
One.
So I was gonna say Xbox. Microsoft's coming out with another new Xbox. Apparently.
Oh yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that real quick. So like a month ago they announced like PlayStation 5 is coming up, but it's not going to come out until like 2020, 2021, which is
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it better not. 'Cause,
No,
like, I
which
feel
which
like-
they, no, which is cool. They're like, hey, look,
I'm
it's
saying
coming.
like it better like release at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
No, it's cool that they're saying like, hey, we're going to release it. It's coming out this. You still have the PlayStation 4. I'm still going to release games,
Yeah.
so it's fine. Xbox is like, yeah, we're coming out with one. What's the name of it? I don't know. What's it? I don't know. Yeah, we just announced
But
it.
like
It's
you just had like the Xbox One S and
Yeah.
then the One X, and
Yeah.
now it's like, and like I feel like this is not a good trend with home consoles. Is that like Sony and Microsoft are trying to like emulate like a smartphone release schedule almost, like making, instead of like waiting 5 years to like come out with a legit new system, they're just coming up with like little incremental upgrades that like people are still going to be dropping $300, $400, $500 on at a time, and it's not good. I mean, it's like, people, how much are you expecting people to buy?
Yeah. A lot of people say the next generation, like the 5, the next Xbox, whatever Nintendo comes out with.
Switch Pro,
whatever.
I hope they don't deviate away from the Switch concept.
Oh yeah, no, that's going to be the last generation.
That's the concern. They're like, oh, like Nintendo's gonna have like a really like typical Nintendo moment and be like, oh, we have this great plan, we're gonna do this instead. This is the way people should be. It's gonna be like a worse idea. They always seem to have that pattern. Like, okay, they have a really good generation and then a really bad one and then a really good one again.
Oh god.
So yeah, people crossing their fingers. They keep the momentum going.
A lot of insiders are saying like this next generation is coming is going to be the last like physical generation where everything's just going to be cloud based.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard that, and honestly,
I don't
I
want
hate
that.
that.
I don't want that.
I don't think, like, I'm not a fan of subscriptions. Like, if it's not for like a cable subscription, I hate subscriptions. Period.
No, I like having physical copies.
I like
stuff.
whether it's games or music.
Or
Like I buy music. Like
It's
like,
why you actually want to talk about things. The fact that you
Yeah.
It's like me. It's like I'm a big DVD guy.
Yeah.
I want DVDs. I want
But
a
the
DVD
thought
case of
of,
stuff.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like the thought of like movies and TV, that's one thing, but like the thought of like having games stream, like, because games are something that like you experience, like you play, like it's not just like watching a movie, like you're actually playing through it. You have your own way of playing it, like you have your own memories with it. And to think that like you can't, like in the future, like you won't be able to actually own it, like when the service goes out, so does the game, so you won't have it anymore. So like years later, you want to reminisce, you won't be able to play
unless you could do that thing where you have like you can download it off. You can have it offline.
If corporations were actually nice to people, they probably would do that. But
I feel like it's going to be like season pass. Like it's going to be all the season pass stuff. Like
that's such a commercial way of doing. Like I just.
It's like microtransactions.
I'm cool with having like people, like especially Switch players. Like a lot of them like to just have like digital downloads onto their system, which is fine. Like but like let us buy to keep. Like don't make it something that's like just a subscription only. That's why like people are concerned with this like new online plan by Nintendo that they're not letting you buy the games outright. Like you have to just subscribe to them.
The fact that they went back to cartridge is just awesome, because I remember like a couple years ago they're like, yeah, Nintendo's going back to cartridge. I'm like, why?
Yeah, that actually caused less of a stir than I was expecting it to, because like people like hear cartridge, they'd probably be like, oh my god, what are they doing? This is another stupid idea by them, and they're this is the same hole that they dug themselves into with the N64 with cartridges.
Oh, my favorite story
it's a different world now for cartridges. Like like they're tiny little SD cards that hold so much memory. And,
my favorite story is
minus the load times of CDs.
Is the Switch cartridges taste bad. I'm like, why you?
Everybody liked the Switch cartridges at some point in time.
Well, why? You're like, why?
And like so, I bought the game. I'm probably like one of the 5 people that bought the game 1-2 Switch, thinking it was another like Wii Sports.
That's the shooting one, right?
It's a whole bunch of like mini games. It's fun with like when you bring it like family and stuff like that, but like you're not gonna play it otherwise. Yeah. So like that was like its main purpose, is like it was a taste tester cartridge for me. That was my. So I figured it's never really coming out of the box again. So hey, let's see what this is all about.
This is this generation's like smelling glue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you look at the Switch cartridge, all of a sudden you start seeing like colors and.
No, it's like what's that Family Guy episode where they're like don't lick the toads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's like don't lick the toads, and they start licking toads. They're like, oh.
Yeah. See, like little 5-year-olds like doing that.
Like oh, they're on the ground like oh. But I was just looking at the list. I thought it said The Awesome Adventures of Captain Planet.
Oh, okay.
No, it's The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It's a Square Enix. It's a game.
Enix?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it said Captain Planet. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to show you where my brain is right now.
Yeah. Another cool thing too excluding Sony from this, because they're really being jerks, sticklers with this. There's a lot of games coming out like Fortnite and Rocket League, and I think Minecraft that cross-platform play, like online, is becoming a thing. So like if I'm playing on the Switch, I can play people online on the Xbox or PC.
Yeah, what was that cross-console thing that they were trying to do a couple years ago with like PlayStation and Xbox? They said something like they're trying to make a deal where you can play a game that's the same game. Like let's just say it's like
Sony said yesterday. I would imagine that they just went back on their word on that, because all these games that are becoming cross-platform, like, and Sony's getting a lot of backlash on this too, because Fortnite it's free to play, so it's not like they'd be losing any money off of it.
Yeah.
But Sony's been trying to keep people just within their ecosystem, like just isolate them, and like that's not the way to go. Like if I think it's really cool that like I can play people like from my Switch like through an Xbox, like people like on the other end playing an Xbox. And Sony's just been, like, especially with Fortnite, like I said, like, it's such a huge game. Like, why wouldn't you want, like, a piece of that pie, or at least that good press? Because, like, now it's like, people, it's bad press where other people are telling you that, like, oh, like, you're the only ones who aren't allowing cross-platform play. I can't say that.
I feel like
can't get those words out.
I feel like Xbox is just like, they used to be, like, they were really competing with Sony, like, way back when the Xbox came out, the original one.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the 360 was big.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the Xbox One just went.
I don't think it didn't crash like that. It's
Well, I didn't get it.
I feel like it's weaning away from like the 360 success only because like
I didn't understand
one thing that Sony is killing them in is exclusives.
Yeah.
So like the exclusive games that they have are like amazing. Like they got like The Last of Us 2 and all that stuff. And Xbox, like what do they have? Like I mean they announced a lot of stuff. Yeah, like, you don't even know. Like yeah.
Especially when they were like you could hook it up to your cable box, and while you're playing, while you're watching football, you could get your fantasy football stats on the screen.
And you know what?
Why?
Like I just want to play games on my system.
Yeah, like I don't care.
I'm not, and that's one thing that Nintendo.
And it watches you and listens to you, and I'm like, get
screw that.
Scrub back then this shit. Like
no, but that's one thing Nintendo did right with the Switch.
TV.
Yeah.
So one thing Nintendo did right with the Switch is that it's a solely, almost to a fault, solely gaming system.
Yeah.
I mean, like it has yet to get like it has Hulu, but it has yet to get like Netflix and YouTube, which like you should.
No, it has YouTube and Netflix on it.
No, not the Switch. Only Hulu.
Oh! I just saying PlayStation.
No. I'm talking about the Switch. Yeah.
Aren't they getting Netflix?
They're in talks.
Oh,
apparently, they've been in talks, but
yeah.
Nothing's ever come out of it. But they should be soon, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
But I mean, I like we live in an age where like all these like devices like phones and tablets and computers like they can just be like whatever type of thing you want. You want it to be a TV, you want it to be a game system, whatever. Fine. I think like dedicated game systems like have their place in that in this world because like it's focus all your energy onto that. Make good games for that. That's all we need.
The last game, before we call it, is Halo Infinite.
Before you go on to E4.
Yeah, so that was their megaton.
Yeah, that was their megaton.
This megaton that they needed.
I like Halo. I was never a big oh my god, Halo's the greatest thing
ever.
ever.
I mean, I never, like I said, I was never a first-person shooter type of guy. So
like Halo 2 is good. I played Halo 3.
Yeah.
I got Halo 4 when it came out, when it was on the 360, and then that's pretty much it.
And I mean, I know people that like that they don't play games, but like they play Halo. Like that's.
I remember like Halo. Halo was a pretty big phenomenon in like the early 2000s because they had the show Red vs. Blue, which is pretty big. It's still big.
Yeah. I've heard of that. I never really watched that, but yeah.
But it's just I don't know. When they announced 4, it was big because they said 3 was the last one, which. It's getting to the point now where it's like you never believe, but it's like this is the last time we're ever coming out with games and stuff. But
it takes till the end of the podcast for me to even look at your screen right now, and
what,
I just
Street
want to
Fighter?
call out one thing, not just Street Fighter, Mario Tennis Access.
Aces, yeah.
Aces,
So that's coming out this month too. Everybody, if you have a
sure.
Switch, buy that game too.
I'm gonna be a fucking
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem is also coming out. Yeah, that's 2019.
Xenoblade Chronicles I never played.
Yeah, that's if you're like an RPG type of person. That's
Sushi Striker, the way.
Don't ignore that game.
Okay. Captain Toad.
Captain Toad again. That's a Wii U re-release. I'm totally getting that because it's incorporating Mario Odyssey levels into it. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, this
nice
Hitman.
little...
The one game that I'm wishing that they would come out is Splinter Cell. Like I haven't heard of Splinter Cell in so long.
That's is that Ubisoft?
Yeah, that's Ubisoft. Yeah. Because Tom Clancy's
Yeah. They should definitely do that.
Because before there was Assassin's Creed, there was like Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Again, like another those games like I never played either.
Yeah.
But terrible game.
Other than that,
I think final question.
Yes.
Who won E3?
Oh God. I put that on the Geeks page.
So
it's being mixed. One person went all gamers. I'm like, no, you have to pick a freaking.
Yeah, I know. That's such a bland response. I'll say that.
I don't know, probably Nintendo, just because that was the most I heard people talking about.
Yeah, I feel they won it, but not by much. Because if you took away Smash
it was
by
the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, because like if you took away Smash Brothers, like Pokemon, those games were already announced before the presentation, and all they really had was like Mario Party. And that was about it.
Here's an interesting question I have for you. What was the first E3 that you watched?
I think
or that you heard of?
the one that I heard of, I remember hearing about E3 when I was like really young, like 2002, 2003. But like I never watched one until I think 2004 or 5. That was, like I said, during the Revolution Wii reveal.
First one I watched was 2006 because that was when G4 was big.
Yeah, mine was 2005.
Yeah,
2005 was when they announced.
2006 was when they
G4.
first had it. It was G4. Oh my god.
Good times.
That's I miss Attack of the Show and all those other great shows on.
What did they replace that channel with?
Oh, like the Men's Network or something.
Yeah.
Oh, stupid.
Come on.
But yeah, it was a really good game, but a really good game, really good.
Game channel.
Yeah. They reran Star Trek a whole bunch of times. So, because I was watching that with the whole like screen at the bottom of people tweeting.
It was a good geek network.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. We went 92 minutes. So
nice.
That's because
record break. Could have gone another.
Because I talk too much.
Yeah. No, but we're definitely going to have you back on.
Sounds like
soon.
a plan.
Yeah, when maybe not. I don't want to say next year's E3.
Yeah. See you in 365 days, man.
See you next year. No, we'll have you back on. But yeah, but it was great having you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah, so now you can run around. I was on a podcast.
I'm part of the collective family.
Yeah, here we go. We'll be back. All right, Gerry. That was a pretty long episode. The Extravaganza.
I was so proud to contribute absolutely nothing to that conversation.
But it was great having John on. We're gonna have him back.
Yeah, I'll see him again tonight.
Soon. Maybe when all the games come out, and we'll have him back on. And we're like, so how's all the games? And he could geek out again. But so within the coming weeks, we're gonna try to get Titus Peoples on, talk to him about filmmaking, and his masterclass productions company.
There you go.
We're gonna have Chris Marcianti back on soon. We're just gonna rant about
Your
Halloween.
twin brother.
Oh yeah, person looks exactly like me. As my mom actually confuses the both of us. That's how close it is. Like I showed her a picture of him and me. She's like, well, "Who's who?" She's like, "Oh, that's you." No, that's Chris.
He's the man and you're the woman.
But yeah, so the equipment didn't crap out on us. So thank God.
Lucky 7.
Oh yeah. So everybody, if you're listening on YouTube, subscribe. We're gonna have Collective Gaming coming out. Maybe I'll do a solo episode. So until Jimmy can come back to the show or start doing a show, Caputo in the Kitchen is coming back. My dad actually mentioned it on the yard sale, no less. Told somebody he had a cooking show, and I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have one." So we're gonna be doing that relatively soon. Thank God.
I'm speechless.
We're in development of a couple of the shows. One with Larry, later Retromancer.
Larry in the Kitchen?
Yeah, Larry in the Kitchen. Not Black. The Untitled Thriller project that we're filming sometime this year, maybe September. The Big Kahuna, directed by Chris Marcianti, produced by us, Caputo Collective, Guerrilla Revolutions Joint. Find us on Instagram. You see all behind the scenes stuff. Gerry, find you on Facebook.
Find me anywhere you want to find me. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts.
Like us on Facebook, Caputo Collective Productions, Collective Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Caputo Collective, or just type in Caputo Productions. Subscribe. We're gonna have a big loads of content coming soon, especially the podcast. If you get the podcast on the download, subscribe, write us a review, and do all that great stuff.
Beautiful.
Look at the website. I still have to update some things, but go to the website. Link it on the bottom of this page, and so we have a bunch of affiliates on there. You can take a look at their stuff. And we're probably going to have them on soon. And so you got anything, Gerry?
They're all right. They're nice people.
All right. So thanks for listening, everybody, to the Collective Podcast, Episode 7. Oh, wait. Didn't we have a special guest? Another special guest that we were supposed to have on? Oh, yeah. We were supposed to have Joe Valenti on today, right?
Oh, Joe,
yeah, but
we're
out of time.
We're out of time.
Oh, yeah. Maybe next time, Joe.
Yeah. Maybe 2.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe next time. He's gonna hate us so much. We'll eventually have Joe on. But so thanks everybody for listening, and check us out next time on the Collective Podcast.
I'll see you later, Joe.